mugs that became part of the shared cultural vocabulary of anyone who had ever watched the show. But for Barker, it was never a joke. He was deadly serious about it. He donated millions of dollars to animal rights causes over the course of his life. He refused to let the show feature fur coats as prizes after a certain point. He had very public disputes with the production over these issues. His advocacy was genuine, and it was lifelong, and it added a dimension to his public persona that went beyond simple entertainment, that made him a figure who stood for something, who used his platform for a purpose beyond ratings. Bob Barker passed away on August 26, 2023, at the age of 99 years old. He was 99 years old, and when he passed, the tributes that poured in from every corner of American life spoke to just how deeply this man had embedded himself into the shared experience of the country. People who had never met him felt like they had lost a friend, because in a very real sense, he had been a guest in their homes 5 days a week for 35 years. That is not nothing. That is actually something quite extraordinary. After Bob Barker, the question of who would host was one of the biggest questions in daytime television. Who could possibly step into those shoes? Who could take on a show with that history, that legacy, that impossibly large shadow, and make it their own without either becoming a pale imitation of what came before, or so dramatically reinventing the show that it lost what made it beloved in the first place? The answer, announced in October 2007, was Drew Carey. And the Internet, which was already a significant cultural force by 2007, had a lot of thoughts about this choice. Many of those thoughts were skeptical. Drew Carey was beloved? Yes. Drew Carey was funny? Yes. Drew Carey had proven himself as a performer and a comedic actor? Yes. But he was not an obvious choice for a game show host, and he was certainly not an obvious choice to succeed Bob Barker. The skeptics were wrong. Drew Carey stepped into that role and made it his own in a way that was both respectful of the show's history and genuinely fresh. He brought a different energy, a slightly goofier energy, a more self-deprecating energy, an energy that acknowledged the absurdity of the whole enterprise in a loving way rather than a dismissive one. He laughed more openly. He engaged with the contestants in a way that sometimes felt more like a buddy hanging out with you at a game show than a polished host guiding you through a carefully structured experience, and the ratings held. The audience responded. The show continued to be one of the most watched programs on daytime television, which is not a small achievement considering everything that has changed about television consumption in the years since Drew Carey took over. He has now hosted the show